Hello everyone, how's it going? My name's WoWcrendor and welcome back to another episode of World of Crendor where I answer the questions you submit to me on Facebook.com/Crendor and Twitter.com/WoWcrendor. Links in the description below if you want to go follow me on either of those places. I mainly use Facebook to promote my newer videos and stuff and be like, hey, I'm doing World of Crendor. While on Twitter, it's more of like my personal rants and stuff, so whichever one you want. Either way, you can ask me questions on both of those. Okay? Okay. First question comes from a lot of people, which was, what's your opinions on Warlords of Draenor? I decided to just clump it all together. So if you asked a question about Warlords of Draenor, in my opinion, I likely read it. So, what is my opinion so far on the alpha of the game? Well, it's an alpha. There's a lot of bugs, a lot of crashes, a lot of broken quests, a lot of things, but that's supposed to be expected of an alpha, which, you know, I take that into account. I don't get mad or be like, oh, this game is dumb. You know, I made in my one video a while back, I was like, oh, this beta sucks. There's all these bugs in it. Because people just view the game as a demo and not as an actual, like, hey, I'm testing it to help polish it out. But so far, I am happy with it because it's Warcraft. It's Warcraft and it's more content. That's all anybody really wants from WoW now is just, we want more content. And because it's been so long since there's new content, it's like, oh my god, it's like we've been in the desert for a year and someone's like, hey, here's some water. And you're like, oh god, let me drink it. Like, that's pretty much what it's like. So, I like the new WoW models. I've created a Tauren, as you've probably seen. Those look really good. I've also created Boar Thrills, and his new model looks really good. I'm happy with that. I've created Billy. I'm going to be doing videos with the new models. It's hard to do that with alpha right now, but I mean, I like the new models. And then there's also garrisons. Garrisons, I think, are really promising. I like the concept of the garrison. I like how you can send people off on missions and recruit new followers to be in your garrison. And it's the same concept that Star Wars: The Old Republic had, but it was a really cool concept, so I'm glad they took it. And it makes the game really fun. Maybe you want to, you know, go out and have dinner and you're like, hey, you know, I can send my follower to go gather wool, or because I need wool to make whatever I'm making. It's that type of thing. So I like that. And let's see, what else is there? The questing is pretty fun. I mean, it's WoW questing. But I mean, I like the fact that there's random little boss encounters all over that you can do with people, and they drop loot and materials. They have that in a lot of other games, and I think WoW's finally been like, hey, let's implement that. I also like that you don't have to tag mobs anymore. Everybody can tag the same mob and get credit. That's really nice. There's also, like the video I just put up the other day, I forgot what it's called, the time tower, time something tower. But it's like treasures that, it's like if you find a treasure chest, you open up, you get loot. It's like that, but it's like a little scenario. So you go inside and everything's time is stalled, and you go in and you're like, whoa, I'm gonna loot the ogre that's frozen in time, and you get his loot and you go to the top. Just go watch my video if you want to actually see it. I put it up the other day. But I really like that concept because it adds just a little bit more depth to actually obtaining that loot. Like, oh, I didn't just go to a treasure chest and loot it. I actually looted it from an ogre in a time-frozen tower. Like, that's cool. So I'm excited to see what other treasures they've put throughout the world. I haven't actually done the instance. I probably should. Maybe I'll... excuse me. Maybe I'll get the whole group of people I know together, like Jesse and some other people, and do that instance. That'd probably be really fun. But I mean, aside from that, there's not too much in the alpha right now. I mean, there's the new spells and classes. I've only played Druid so far, but I mean, it's fun. There's the item crunch, so all the numbers are smaller, which I like. Some people are like, no, but I like the smaller numbers. I don't want to be like, what are we at now? Like 1,000 billion stamina? It's like, let's just go back to like 50 stamina. That's fine. Yeah, but so far, I think it's pretty good. And I have hopes that it's going to be a good expansion. And I'm excited for it. Moving on. Next question is from Arnisha. They say, do you have any new squishables? If you didn't know, I said on a Cox and Crendor podcast a while ago that I like squishables, and people sent them to my P.O. box. And ever since then, I've been like, I love squishables. So, I do not, but I mean, if people want to send me squishables, I have my P.O. box on a lot of videos. I know it's in my About section on YouTube. You know, I'm not like, hey, go send me squishables, but I mean, if you want to, I'll take them. Yeah. Next question. Travis Corwin says, any word on the Cox and Crendor podcast with donations plan? There will be something very shortly about that. By shortly, I mean this week. So look out for that. It's good news. Very good news. Next question is The Hooded Man. He says, if you could remake any game with modern tech, new graphics, features, etc., which game would it be and why? I thought about this for a little bit, and it may be weird, but I'd remake Empire Earth. And I've talked about this before, but Empire Earth was probably my favorite RTS game. It was just a fun community. It was a fun multiplayer game. I love that you could play in any age, and that playing in specific ages made it almost like a different game. So like you could play medieval age only, or modern age only, or like the dark ages only, the industrial age only, pre to space, where you try to advance through all the ages really quickly. I love that game. And then they brought out Empire Earth 2, which was like meh. They made it stupid, and they got rid of custom civilizations and added a bunch of things they didn't have to, and it was just blizz, okay. And then Empire 3 was just really terrible. But I would remake the original Empire Earth. I would update the graphics. I would add a bunch more units. The biggest thing that was so much fun about that game was everybody got the same units. And you could cater your civilization bonuses towards those units. So you got to make civilization. You got to literally make civilizations before the game started. So you can go into the civ editor and be like, I want archer bonuses. I want these bonuses. I want this bonus. And you would tailor it towards what you wanted to do. But that didn't mean you couldn't sway off that plan. Like, oh, he's going to counter me. I'm going to start doing these other things. Because it was very strategic in that aspect. And when the new game came out, they got rid of that concept entirely, which was stupid. I love that concept. I just wish they would do that again, and that's why I would remake it. Yeah, if you want to play Empire Earth, it's on GOG.com. I know they got the game, and you can buy it really cheap. It's fun. It's nostalgic, and I used to play it when I was like 12 and 13 years old. One of the first online multiplayer games I ever played, ever. Yeah. Next question is from Grendel, and they say, did you ever name Crencat? He has about 5 names right now. He's Crencat, Cat, Kitty, Bilbo, Bomber, like the dwarf, and Billy. He has 6 names right now. Kind of just alternate. I mean, he can have 6 names. He can have all the names. His name is the one of all names. But I mainly just call him Crencat. Or Cat. Yeah, it's whatever. So yeah. Next question is Trevor Mooney. They say, do you find it hard to talk about the things you love, video games, video making, with other people that don't love the same things? And that's a good question, because I think a lot of people run into that, not just about talking about like video games and video making, but just talking about the things you love to other people. And I think it's hard to do that when you're still in school, like high school, even college or grade school or whatever, because everybody's just going to school. Nobody really knows what they want to do yet. I mean, you can have hobbies and everything, but you don't find out what you love to do and what you want to do with your life usually until after school's over. If you find out before, then you're on the right path, but say you like drawing and you want to talk about drawing with other people. Maybe they don't care about drawing. It's like, how do you talk to them about it? So, I mean, specifically with me, people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I make videos on the internet about video games. And they're like, what? So usually it catches them off guard. But usually when you talk to somebody about what you care about and what you're passionate about and what you love to do, that just makes them interested. So, I mean, their interest is already piqued because they're like, that's a thing I've never heard of, or it's weird, or maybe they've watched a couple YouTube videos, but they didn't know it's an actual job. But I mean, when I get into it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for years. You know, I did it as a hobby, and like, they can feel your sense of passion in it, and usually that's enough to make them interested. So I don't really find it hard talking to people about doing what I love, even if they don't love the same thing, because it's kind of just sharing that experience and that passion. And that's why I could hear someone talk about, you know, whatever. They could be talking about how they love to make chairs, and they could be really into chairs, like, look at the fine detail on that chair, and look at this, and I did that. And like, as long as they're really passionate about it and care about it and show that they care about it, I'd be interested, you know? And I think that's the biggest thing. And then there's some people who just can't do that, where they're like, I like video games, it's kind of whatever. Like, that's gonna bore anybody anyway. So you have to just be enthusiastic about it. So, to answer your question, I don't find it hard to talk about those things. Maybe 5 years ago I would, but not now, because I've been doing it for so long. Moltenheim asks, can you do another update on the non-content RPG? Sure, I'll do that. It's progressing. I said by the end of the year it's gonna be out, and I'm gonna follow through with that. It'll be out by the end of the year. An excellent game for the whole universe. Next up we have TMS Wedge, and he says, what catches your eye when it comes to new and up-and-coming YouTube channels? What impresses you? Well, much like what I was talked about, I like to see someone who shows that they care about the content they're producing, or the non-content, but somebody that actually is like, hey, you know, I know what I'm talking about, I really enjoy what I'm talking about, and I'm having fun doing it. I think those are the biggest things you have to have in a YouTube channel. And then anything innovative or new, I always like that, instead of just being like, hey, I'm another Let's Play channel, hey, I'm another commentator. Like, okay, like, you know? And then just having basic, like, quality. Like, you don't have to have super quality, but like a decent microphone, so it's not like and then being able to make a video that's in HD and looks good. But for the most part, just people that love what they're doing and make new, unique stuff. And that's really what I look for. So, next question. Bobby Delisle says, what race are you most excited about getting a model upgrade in Warlords of Draenor? Another good question, and I mean, a lot of them, I mean, most of them are getting upgrades, but from what I've seen so far, I'd probably say Tauren, but that's just because I have always liked Tauren. I have a Tauren Warrior, Tauren Druid, probably a Tauren something else, Paladin. So I like Tauren. I mean, orcs, it's like alright, but I could live without an orc like model upgrade. Like Tauren, I just really am enthusiastic about their model upgrade. Gnomes, I like the gnome upgrade, but I mean the rest of them, like human, undead, night elves, like all those, like I don't really care. It's whatever. So I'd say Tauren. Jace Rice says, Crendor, your non-content is being too content-y. How can you improve that? I'm trying. I'm trying as best I can. Sometimes it crosses the line, but I always aim below the line. The harder you try, the harder you fall. That's my motto. Ricky Viladson says, what's your source of inspiration when it comes to your videos? How do you come to the conclusion that this is worth making a video about? That's a good question. I guess it's just my gut feeling, but sometimes, like, my gut feeling is going to be different than other people's gut feeling. It just depends on your personal experiences. Like, when I first made some videos 5 years ago, I was like, this is really good. I'm going to make this video. It's a cool idea. And I'd make it, and some people would be like, that's dumb. And other people would be like, wow, that's really cool. And so you just gotta make what you enjoy making, like what I said earlier. But inspiration, it's just kind of, it happens. I mean, a lot of people are like, how do I get inspired? How do I get motivated? But really, it kind of just happens. Like, sometimes I'll watch my old videos and I'll get ideas or get motivated. Like, wow, now I want to make a video. Sometimes I'll watch other people's videos and it'll motivate me. Sometimes I'll just be walking down the street and be like, oh my god, I just got a video idea. Sometimes I'm running around in WoW and I'm like, oh, I just got a video idea. It just bam, happens like that. One day I'll be like, oh my god, I can't think of any more ideas. And then the next day I've thought of like 5 new ideas. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna make them all. So, the fun of being a creative person on the internet, or in general. It's just harder because when you do it as a job, people expect it, and it's a very random process. So, I mean, you get dry spells where you're just kind of like, I can't think of anything. I gotta make something because I haven't made something in a while. And then you're like, maybe this will be good, and then you try that, and everyone's like, that was okay. And it's like, okay isn't good enough. It's either gotta be non-content or quality content. You can't have in between. You can't have average. Average is boring. Average is just another grain in the sand. While if you're a red grain of sand in a big thing of sand, you're more noticeable. If you're a disformed, weird grain of sand, you're still noticeable. So it's always about either being really bad or really good. That's my view. It's the blue paint theory. I talked about it a while ago. You could have a big white wall, and that's all the average people, and then you got a blue speck of paint, and a red speck of paint. You're always going to notice those first thing. Your eye's going to go to that. I'm gonna move on now. So yeah, next is Dylan O'Goul, and he says, do you watch other people on YouTube, or do you really not go on YouTube besides for work or work-related things? I know a lot of people that don't watch YouTube, like, at all. Like, I know for a fact that, like, Jesse, he rarely watches, like, he's not subscribed to anyone. He'll watch YouTube, but he doesn't subscribe to anyone or anything like that. I know TB, he kind of watches people. I know he's subscribed to some people, but he's always working more so. I watch a lot of YouTubers. I don't know, I always liked YouTube. Watching YouTube is what got me into YouTube. So I know, I've told this like a billion times, but there's always new people. I used to watch Rurkar's videos, and I was like, oh, these are so funny, and then he stopped making them, and then nobody was really making World of Warcraft videos anymore, and everyone's like, WoW's dead. And I was like, well, I still want WoW videos, so I'm gonna make WoW videos. And it turned out, I was like the only one in the market, really, at that point, and so everybody's like, hey, this guy's making WoW videos, and that just, right place at the right time. So, yeah. I was always of the mindset that in order to improve, you need to see other people's stuff as well. So, I mean, if say you're a chef and you love to cook, you're obviously going to go try other chefs' food. You're going to go watch them cook and taste their food. So, I mean, to me, that's what watching YouTube is I'm watching other creators create, and that might inspire me or give me ideas or just motivate me to do something. Because, I mean, for example, say there's a Gordon Ramsay. He goes and sees his chef, and he's like, let me try your fish dish, the fish dish. And he brings it out, and he's like, oh my god, this is so good. Now I want to make a fish dish because this is so good. And then he puts his own spin on it, and that inspired him to make this. And so for me, it's the same thing where maybe I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to go watch some videos, and I find somebody who made a WoW video, and it's about, I don't know, it's just a random story of some guy. But in that story is a little gnome who's like dancing on a mailbox for no reason. And I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. What if I took that concept and made it into a thing? I mean, I don't think I would, but it's that type of deal where you get inspired by certain things. I know there's a video I watched where it was the login screen tips, and they kind of morphed it to be like, Blizzard login screen tips. You can find, it was just something funny. And I thought of that, and I was like, that's a really cool idea. I'd like to implement that into one of my videos. And so in the how fans run WoW, or whatever I called it, there's the Meatwad Taran, and he's like, don't feed the trolls, because they mean and hurt your feelings. And I did that whole thing because I saw that in another video and got inspired by it, and was like, wow, that'd be really cool in one of my videos. And so, I mean, yeah, that's the type of things that will inspire. I guess I kind of just melded that with the current question, but I go on YouTube a lot and I watch a lot because I enjoy seeing other creative people. Next question is from Victoria Milcheva. Milcheva. How much time do you usually spend when making a video? That's a good question. I've answered this before, but I always re-answer questions because there's always people that haven't seen previous videos. It depends. Some videos I can make in a day, especially if I have the whole script written. The script's the hardest part. Once I get the script down and I like it, I can make that video in like a day or two. The script is like getting it perfect to where I want it. That's the hardest thing. Because in my mind, if I mess up one part of it, I'm going to make that video and I'm going to be like, I could have made that better. And I did that before. I did that with How to Win It LFG? I think it was How to Win It, or LFR. How to Win It LFR. And there's a scene where Billy is shooting an arrow at the monster. And it was supposed to be the arrow hits him and it just one-shots him because LFR is so easy. And it's like, hey, everybody gets loot. But I left that out because I rushed it. I was like, I gotta make a video. And it just looks like they're all attacking, and then Billy, it has a zoom in, and then the monster dies. And it looks confusing. And I was like, I could have taken another, 30 seconds to make a little scene where an arrow's flying through the air, and then it hits the monster, at the boss, and then he dies. And it would have been like, he died in one hit, and it's funny. But I didn't, and that bothered me very much. And so I always take the time now to, make sure it's all how I want it. And that I give it a few days to settle in, and if I can replace stuff, or it's kind of like a rough draft, and then I edit and edit and edit. Yeah, so kind of just depends, but usually the script's the longest, and then the video part can be a day or two. So yeah. And finally we got Mitchell Morris, and he says, what was your favorite WoW patch? Well, Mitchell Morris, my favorite WoW patch was the one that added weather effects. And that's because I love ambiance. And when WoW added weather effects, I was so excited because I love just going around the environments and just feeling like I'm a part of that environment with the music and the lighting and the scenery and the atmosphere. I just love all of it. And I was like, oh, weather. So I could just sit in the rain and Stranglethorn, or be in the snow. I love that stuff. And I wish they'd upgrade the weather more so. I wish they'd keep focusing on the weather. Some people are like, my machine can't handle it. Well, like I said, go play Pony Adventure Quest if your machine can't handle it. Update the atmosphere and the weather, Blizzard. Do it. Keep it going and bring back real nighttime. Everybody wants real nighttime. Somebody's gonna be like, but if it's dark outside, then something. Shut up. Just make it real nighttime. Everybody wants it. Just put it on a clock. Put it on a shorter daytime cycle, and then people who play at night can be like, I don't get to play during the day. Well, too bad. We'll change it to 6-hour shifts, and that way everybody gets to play during day and night. It's not that hard. Just fix it. Everybody wants it. I'm done. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to ask a question or follow me, you can go to twitter.com/WoWcrendor or facebook.com/Crendor. And I'll always be like, hey, I'm doing questions. Ask me some. Okay? See ya.